So there's a. I learned something when I was doing this something called SOHCAHTOA. Do you remember? Did you learn that? All right. So let's write down what SOHCAHTOA represents, and that would be SOHCAH. SOHCAHTOA. Is that it? Okay. And what that looks out to be is S is sine, C is cos, and T is tan. Now, in a triangle, a right angle triangle, again, very important, it must be a right angle triangle for this to work. Right? Okay. So, opposite. Which one is opposite? Which angle? Really? So if we had this angle, which one is opposite? Opposite to the angle. Right? So the orientation of our angle is like this. We have 35 degrees, which is here. So the opposite to the angle is this. H for hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always opposite to the 90-degree angle. And adjacent is always this piece here. Given that we know the opposite angle is, the opposite side is this one, opposite to the angle, the hypotenuse is always opposite to the 90-degree. So the adjacent is always here. A for adjacent. Now, in our scenario, what are we trying to find? Is it hypotenuse? Is it adjacent? Is it opposite? It's opposite. Because this is the angle here. The side opposite to the angle is this one here.
We're trying to find the adjacent.
Well, we found the adjacent. We assume that we define the adjacent. Because the adjacent is from Y to A. And if we were to work it out now, what would it be? We would use, we have the hypotenuse, and we want to find the adjacent. So we could use cos. Yeah? So, using the cosine formula for want of a better word, there's an actual name for it, I can't recall it at this moment. We use adjacent and hypotenuse. Yeah? So is it adjacent over hypotenuse or hypotenuse over adjacent is the cosine ratio? Well, we know that tangent is opposite over adjacent. Yes? Opposite over adjacent. Because and we say opposite over adjacent, opposite over adjacent, opposite over adjacent. We repeat that 100 times every day if we need to remember. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. We have SOHCAHTOA. Tan is opposite over adjacent. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Sine opposite over hypotenuse. Yeah? So we rationalize cosine to adjacent over hypotenuse because tangent is opposite over adjacent. And in the SOHCAHTOA, we have tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we have cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse and sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So in order to find from Y to A, we know, and we can write it in here, we're running out of space. We're going to put YA. What's the distance? The distance YA. YA using the 35-degree angle. Given that we have the hypotenuse, we're going to use cosine to find the adjacent. So the cosine ratio is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Yes? The cosine ratio. Because we have C, then AH. And these second two letters mean first letter over the second letter. Right? Now, in our diagram, what is the adjacent? YA. Right. So if we just restructure this a bit, we would thus get the cosine ratio is equal to the adjacent, which is YA, divided by hypotenuse, which is 100. 100. But we need to find YA. So, if we write this in a form that will allow us to do a cross multiply, cosine ratio is YA divided by 100. We cross multiply, so cosine over 1. Cross multiply the 100 by C, cross multiply 1 by YA. What does that give us? That leads to 100 multiplied by the cosine ratio.
That's how it is.
Sorry?
We do it. You would say cosine 35 is equal to y over 100 and then you cross multiply.
Okay, well, the C right now represents cosine 35. So if you want, you can put 100 by, if you want to fill it in right away, you can fill it in right away. 100 multiplied by cos 35 is equal to YA. And you can look at, you can work that out in your calculator. Let's do it now and get an answer.
See,
Calculator.
you also have to make a calculator.
Okay. So we get an answer. So we use the calculator to find cos 35. We multiply that by 100 and we get the value for YA, which is 81.9. Now that's YA. We still have to find AZ in order to give us the total of YZ, because we know that YZ is equal to YA plus AZ. If we cut the YZ line with a point A, YZ is equal to the sum of YA plus AZ.